I'm Sam Mitchell, and these are my stories. Hi folks, I'm your day today. Let me first welcome you to Autism Rocks and Rolls. Now before I get messed I'm not a psychiatrist. If you're starting to be diagnosed with autism, please see a physician. I only speak based on my experiences. I also write to the intro letter that are found on danielbooking.com and mediafiresound.com. And don't forget everyone, I am selling t-shirts and hats for only $20. Be sure to get yours today. I should also mention I have a mission statement to read with all of you. The mission of Autism Rocks and Rolls is to take the stigma off of autism and other conditions like many disabilities. People on the spectrum are not broken and do not need to be fixed. Those who have conditions always want to be pitied. There's nothing to be sorry about. I do have some paid for the following. I need to discuss my friends Autism Anglers and Don Morris in C322, Gone Fishing with Don Morris and Autism Anglers for more information. I was so moved by their nonprofit organization, I felt the urge to talk about them more. Autism Anglers' mission is to bring awareness and acceptance to autism through the sport of fishing. Their goal is to educate a large percentage of the population, specifically anglers, about autism and use fishing as a calming therapy for those on the autism spectrum. They also have a launch program called Awesome Anglers. To learn more, check them out at autismanglers.org. I should also suggest visiting Bloomington's Moose Lodge. Possibly the group's founder was Dr. Henry Wilson, who constructed the first moose house in the Kentucky city of Louisville in 1888. The main objective of the moose when it initially opened was to provide a space for men to gather, socialize, and have a good time. You can participate in a variety of activities at our nearby lodges, either alone or with other people. The Moose holds a wide range of events including sporting competitions, live performances, holiday parties, and fine dining. Visit them now to see it. And there are some people I'd like to thank. My friend Sonny Von Cleveland, C204, Authentically Honest with Sonny Von Cleveland for more information, was on the Big Soft White Underbelly program, sharing his inspiring story. Feel free to check it out. I also just got done with my Cornell University online classes. My thank you goes to the ARAR board for letting me learn how to be a better speaker. And I will use the knowledge I gain when I go on stage and speak. There are some connections I need to talk about. The first one is our friend Allison Bowers on C324. Going live with Allison Bowers for more information from Vincennes PBS. A vital component media department at Vincennes University is Vincennes PBS. Since 1968, Vincennes PBS has provided dependable programming and services that encourage people of all ages to appreciate education, develop as individuals, and become involved in their communities. Next is Rhys Thompson from Lives in the Balance Incorporated. Their impact and efforts are worldwide in addition to base advocacy and legislation aimed at drastically reducing or doing away with the use of detrimental, counterproductive disciplinary practices. They offer extensive assistance and instruction of collaborative and proactive solutions, a research-based approach to care developed by their original director, Dr. Ross Green. The last one is Hami Owen from In Motion Coaching. He used tailored strategies for personal growth, business success, and wellness to help people reach their full potential and achieve noteworthy results. Together, you both will conquer challenges, celebrate victories, and build a happy, healthy life that is consistent with your basic values and objective. You could embark on this path to your best self and prosperous future together. There is a possibility you could hear from them later on. A connection that you don't have to wait for is Sue Day from Pathways Forward Coaching. With every interaction, Sue hopes to raise awareness of ADHD, encourage others to value their unique brains, and help them find their inner strength. I see not have to wait for this one because I recently did a discovery call for my own ADHD. The video is called ADHD Epiphanies with Sue Day. We both found ways for me and others to manage ADHD. Thank you, Sue, for doing this with me. I had a blast. Feel free to take a watch. Also, lots of events and stuff have happened that made ARAR boom. The first is I recently went and spoke to my mother at C105, meet my mother for more information, 8th graders, like I always do. Thanks, Mom, for letting me come in and speak to your kiddos. Also, I was just featured in the Daily Inspired Living magazine. Make sure to read the story that was done about me. Carletta Marie deserves special recognition for featuring me. Plus, I went to do my own personal development and attended the Profitable Podcast Masterclass. It was quite the learning experience. A thank you goes to the instructor, Victoria Featherstone, for showing me some new tips and tricks I can use. Lastly, I went to Elkhart, Indiana, and became a vendor for the 2025 Hall of Heroes Comic Con. I did complete my job, which was to show why autism is a superpower. An extra token of gratitude goes to Alan Stewart for letting me share my mission and passion. I almost forgot we had our monthly board meeting. Through this meeting, we gain more work for our volunteers and interns. We appreciate all the help they do. Plus, I went to some speed networking events. The first was a new clubhouse room about and called Men's Mental Health. The other was called Speed Networking for Business Owners, Real Conversations, Real Connections. The event was made by Darren Gutman. I even went to one more called Virtual Networking Event, Advertise Your Business, that was made by Lisa Ricky. And each one, I left with at least one new friend. Finally, I went on the Underdog Protagonist podcast with Patrish Sadapi. What a cool podcast to listen to. Now, folks, we'll be right back. We're here for our friends, the Barn on Maryland Ridge, so let's get to it.
There is a hidden gem in eastern Greene County, folks. Fowler's Pumpkin Patch and the Barn on Maryland Ridge Wedding Barn. Autism Rocks and Rolls is very proud to tell you about our friends Perry and Renee Fowler and their place of business. Both Fowler Pumpkin Patch and the Barn on Maryland Ridge is a relaxing drive approximately 15 minutes from the heart of Bloomington, Indiana, and an hour south of Indianapolis. You can find them at 5347 South Greene County Line Road, Bloomington, Indiana, 47403. The property has numerous picture locations, including several rolling fields, antique tractors, red and rustic barns, trees, and much more. Customized wedding packages are offered on their website. The surrounding area also provides several hotels in which to have your guests stay for your destination wedding. Also, Fowler's Pumpkin Patch is a family-owned and operated seasonal pumpkin patch. It's the perfect place to take your family for some fall fun. Enjoy picking out pumpkins, hay rides, a corn maze, and a petting zoo. Call the Fowlers today at 812-327-4895 or 812-325-6022.
All right, folks, we're back. You definitely hear the words I do at this wedding barn. So today's I'll be out saying those on the Autism do, and that is being pushy. This is where the line is drawn for not the American Civil War, but the Autism Civil War. And unlike the American Civil War, we're not fighting over slavery, we're fighting over being pushy. Now, like the Civil War, both sides have extreme, and I mean extreme, contradicting views. The North side believes if someone says to the person with autism, you're pushy. Okay, I really don't care. And here's why. It is perfectly reasonable at C303, Allie got some sensible information to answer us at 3 in the morning. It's not something we want to do, it's something we have to do. It's a prevention from us either A, being impatient, C311, be patient for more information, or B, acting out. Because if we act out, it's going to be a disaster for everyone on our team, and especially people around us. But clearly, I obviously don't want to be a pain in the rear, but if that's what it comes to, and we have to be a bit jerkish, so be it. We're doing what we have to do to function. However, the South, or the people without autism, believe, as bad as I feel for you not being able to move on, it's going to sound harsh, but at the end of the day, it's not our problem that you can't function. We all have our own lives. Every person in this world deserves some privacy. You're not a king or a queen. Not everybody should have to be attached to your hip. We're even so strong with this belief, we've created a law to prevent this crap from happening. And unless you're a CEO or a person with power, you don't get to dictate how I live my life, even if you see it as wrong or a waste of time. Now you're probably wondering who won the war? It's a draw. I think both sides make valid points. From the North side, as a person with autism, I get it. It is annoying, but it's not mean. I think we can all agree annoying is better than being a jerk. And why does it matter if we're not doing it out of spite? That being said, the South does have some points too. As an 8-year-old, I didn't understand the word privacy. Now, as a 22-year-old man, I totally understand why everyone should have some privacy. There's a reason you don't sleep or shower in public. Yes, there is a law that police and C313 in the line of duty for more information have enforced called harassment. Harassment means bothering the person all the time. And bothering a person is not worth going to jail for. And as much as that law stinks, it is what Metallica says, a sad but true part of life. Now, the definition of pushiness is the quality of being extremely forceful, aggressively pushy, or tactically persistent, under to the extent of being impolite or invasive. It involves exerting excessive effort to obtain something or force someone to do an action, even if it is unpleasant or unwanted. I think why this is a challenge is because we have what I like to call the forceful gene. I'm not talking about the force from Star Wars. The force I'm referring to is where those with autism will do whatever it takes to complete the task, even if it includes being pushy to their person they're collaborating with. From my experience, I believe the Temple Grandin and C-124, pictures on the ranch from Temple Grandin quote, when you met one person with autism, you met one person with autism, does not come into play with this topic. If Son Mez were to come on my podcast and say, I would have to respectfully disagree. Now, parents, it is your responsibility to teach them what is the forceful gene, but also not to get rid of it, because there is a right way to use it. You just might have to show them what the wrong way is. The forceful gene can be used incorrectly. Plus, I will say the anxiety and C109 autistic butterflies for more information can come in the playing field. My former guest, Chris Mitchell on C320, Define Yourself by Chris Mitchell for more information, wasn't came when he said on his episode, we are the walking definition of anxiety. There are people with autism who got physically sick over anxiety. And if those with autism get to the physically sick point or the over it point, we're going to be pushy. We don't care that you're showering in the bathroom. And I know it's inappropriate, but I can't hold to the rope any longer. We're going to climb up the rope. We're going to put one foot on the cliff while the other foot will be dangling from the cliff. And it's going to be dangling there until it gets solved, because I'm telling you this, after holding on to the rope for that long, I'm for sure not going to fall. And people without autism need to understand it's a coping mechanism for people with autism. We've all been in the car traveling while a kid in the back has been asking, are we there yet? 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 It's because they're trying to check the status of where they are. It's the same ordeal with autism. It's a prevention from the unknown. And if you want to learn more information on the unknown and anticipatory anxiety, check out my episode 1110, What are the odds, for more information on that topic. And I'll just say, if the results aren't what they want to hear or not where they want to be, just hearing the results makes them feel better. The anger we have also does not help. In C212, fly out the handle for more information. You've all heard the expression, when it rains, it pours. I think we all have had those days where it rains and pours. Well, those with autism have those too. And the only way they know how to handle when it rains, it pours day is to be pushy. All we ask for is something to go right. It could be something as simple as getting to work early or getting to have our morning cup of coffee. But it doesn't happen because we wake up late. We have to miss our cup of coffee. We even get rear-ended. Now I'm late to work. After a while, things build up. And after it becomes a tower, we've had enough. Turn into, well, nothing's going good today. I'm so mad. I'm so angry. I'm going to be pushing and have some of my day go right. I don't care who I offend. It's your responsibility to teach them pouting and moaning and complaining may not be the way. Since here's what happens. They get humiliated. Others don't want to be around them. More rain pours down the cloud, and it could make someone else angry. And why do you want to make others angry? All you're doing is risking the chances of a fight. Having one bad day isn't worth having a fight over. Those with autism can be pushy by being too blunt. C2, honesty versus bluntness for more information, and not realize it. In neurotypical social norms, bluntness is frequently viewed as rudeness, but for many people with autism, it's just an efficient and honest way of expressing oneself. It might be difficult to comprehend how other people view one's actions, particularly when doing so in real time. It's possible that a person with autism is unaware that their pattern or explanation is causing discomfort or pressure to others. It also doesn't help when some individuals have the equation working with others equals no help in their head. As we know, some people with autism don't like to work with others. I'm one of them. I would still rather work alone to this day, and working with others is a skill I'm still getting used to. One of the things I can't stand when I work with someone is when I ask them to please get this done at a very rational due date when it comes close to the day, or the days come, they just started. Now I have to be pushy. It's the only way I know how not to turn into the angry basketball coach. I will say those with autism can be pushy with words or not speaking. Sometimes those with autism are not only pushy with their words, but with their actions too. Let me put it this way. I wouldn't be surprised if someone with autism pushed a kid off the high diving board because he was taking too long to gather the courage to jump off. There is some stuff that those with autism will be pushy with. Some of those are social life. Since they can miss minor cues like exhaustion, apathy, or a need for space, they might be aggressive in social situations. If a person with autism feels unheard or unsure about their social position, they may become extremely persistent. It helps with both anxiety management and abandonment phobia. Also, they can be picky with who they want in their social life. They may not want a certain person in their social life because they just don't mesh well. I've had to do this several times. I could tell several people wanted to be my friend in college. I knew it wouldn't be a good match. And they may not want you in if you abandon them one time or more. I have a great story with this. I did have a friend who shall remain nameless, and this person who was my friend left me twice. If this person were to by chance come back and apologize, then ask again if we could work it out, my answer would be no. Another one is fun times. It's not about being demanding or self-centered. Somebody with autism is pushy with fun times. For instance, by demanding a particular activity, pushing others to continue playing, or becoming agitated when plans change, their brain is wiring toward order. Happiness and predictability is frequently linked to it. They can insist on the same activity repeatedly, not to irritate people, but because it makes them feel relaxed and happy. When others are bored, exhausted, or ready to stop, those with autism might not notice. Those with autism might not realize that others aren't as enthusiastic as they are. They can find it difficult to gauge how long the fun has lasted or to know when to stop. Another thing that can be pushy is their fixation. In C205, find the blueprint for more information. It is crucial to realize that when someone with autism appears pushy with their fixations, What other people may perceive as pushiness is frequently a sign of intense passion, emotional control, and desire for connection. For them, pushing to discuss or interact with subjects they enjoy can feel as necessary and natural as breathing. It's challenging to change your attention once you've locked into it. If they persist on directing discussions or activities in a way that suits them, this might turn out as pushy. They might be expressing, "This is important to me," or "want to share with me," when they discuss a special interest. The person with autism may get demanding if others attempt to alter the topic or activity, not because they are being impolite, but rather because they have a strong need for consistency. Furthermore, we have leaving. Their brain might interpret a given time as non-negotiable if they were instructed or expected to go at that moment. Some people with autism require time to get ready for a change, and they find it difficult to go back once they made up their minds to do so. When they reach their breaking point, they can push and go right away, even if other people aren't prepared. Additionally, we have plans. As C233, I've got a plan for more information. Plans provide individuals with autism a path in an atmosphere that frequently seems chaotic and uncertain. Many people with autism psychologically lock in on a strategy once it's been established. Canceling or changing plans, particularly when they include other people, could be regarded as, "You lied to me," or "You simply don't care about me." Even if that isn't the case, the emotional response is genuine and authentic, and it can motivate the person with autism to stick with the original goal. The final thing those with autism can be pushy over is their sensory issues. In C123, sensitive feelings for more information, it's not being difficult when a person with autism appears pushy about their sensory concerns, such as insisting on certain textures or noise levels, covering their ears in public, refusing to wear certain underwear, or requesting that the lights be turned off. The goal is to survive. People with autism may perceive what neurotypical people consider a minor annoyance as actual anguish. They may become unable to communicate or maintain composure if they lack sensory control. They may therefore believe that if something hurts them, it must hurt anyone else, which could result in intense motion like, "Why would anyone want those lights on?" Something else those with autism can be pushy with, and this deserves its own category, is getting their way. They have the Myra of the highway mindset. C103, Myra of the highway for more information. Some of the autism can be pompous. They think they're Triple H as Stadium McMahon's authority. Well, they still think that they better get that in shape before they enter the real world, because if they try to be pushing the real world, there will be people who laugh in their face. And for personal experience, it's not worth the embarrassment. Plus, I'll let you on a little life secret, and I apologize if I cross the line. Yes, I better sing it. I apologize. Whoa, whoa, I apologize. But anyway, it's the truth. Authority figures aren't either liked or trusted by the general public. If you ask me, I'd rather be liked instead of having the power to make rules. This also might be the one time that those with autism, being a rule abider, might not go well. Those with autism do like to follow rules, and that's awesome. But there's one little problem. You just turned your son or daughter into a traffic cop. I have a great story with this. One of my cousins who was younger and is not on the autism spectrum, I think was told that you shouldn't curse. Well, if you know me outside this podcast, I have what I call a sailor mouth. And each time I was around my cousin, every time I curse, he'd be like, "Sam, stop cursing." Okay. Now after a while, I think he saw that my family was just full of potty mouths and we weren't going to stop. My point though I'm trying to make here is my cousin was being a traffic cop. It's the same thing. Someone with autism could be a traffic cop and be pushy with a certain rule. It may not be with cussing, but I could easily see it with a rule such as you have to take off your shoes before you enter our house. Let's just say this, if that shoe doesn't come off willingly, it's going to come off the hard way. People with autism get so pushy that they may make rules and expect people to follow it, no matter how reasonable or unreasonable it is. Those with autism, as you know, are perfectionists. And when we become perfectionists, we get pushy by making the rules as we go along, or sometimes adding rules that could be like, whoa, Nelly, to several people. I have a great story with this. When my mother started first listening to my podcast, because I asked for an editor, I made the rules where you could come in to my studio and you could sit and listen. However, I don't want you to fall asleep and doze off. I don't want you to bring food because I'm afraid my papers will get food on them. And I don't want you to bring any drinks because I'm afraid my papers will get wet. Okay, sounds great. Does it for a little while, but then all of a sudden she starts bringing down Cheetos. Now all of a sudden she's bringing down chocolate milk. Now I'm going to sleep on the couch. At a point I was like, whoa, we talked about this. These are the rules I am asking you for these reasons. After I was done saying my piece, my mother said her piece and pretty much said, Sam, these rules are very unreasonable. However, we can probably compromise and still keep some of them. So my mother and I did compromise, and with some of these rules I made at first, I have been more lenient on. That being said, though, I'm gonna be honest. If it was completely up to me and I had all the power, I'd still make her abide by those rules. I also believe it does not help when people get the wrong intention. Again, why should it matter if we're not doing it out of spite? We're not the ex calling to cuss you out. All most asses want to do is check in on you, and now you're not answering? Now I'm worried about you. Guess I'm going to have to be pushy. I thought President Family was supposed to be there for you no matter what day or time it is. And I thought one of the privileges that came with having a family member or a friend was being allowed to check in on them no matter what time it is or day it is. And now it's not? No matter if it's 3 a.m. in the morning? What? I'm so confused. It's extremely condescending. To the parents, I'll also say having social media doesn't help. On social media, what do we do the most? The answer is connect. And it's great. It's opened a whole new dimensions for a lot of people. However, there's a problem. When you're on the spectrum, they get a tendency to overconnect, and next thing you know, they have 2 dimensions that are open. We have all heard the Spider-Man's Aunt Mary Jane's quote, "With great power comes with great responsibilities." Parents, it's your job to show them the power a phone can have and social media has. However, you also have to show them the responsibilities of social media and carrying a phone. That might include showing them how to interact on social media. And parents, if you try to teach them and they still don't understand, then I might not give them the power of having a phone, especially a social media account. Trust me, it will save you the potential of having a possible lawsuit. Now, if someone with autism is being pushy, do they know? It's circumstantial. That depends on their understanding of the world. If they're like me, who has a big understanding of the world, then yes. But if they have the mindset of a 10-year-old, probably not. And if they are pushy, will they apologize and regret it? It depends on their character and how stubborn they are. Take me, for example. I like to think I'm a nice guy, and if I do screw up and was a little too pushy, I will apologize. But I'm also very stubborn. And there have been times where I was pushy and I didn't apologize because in my brain, I had to do it. And to this day, I don't regret it. And if they have a lower understanding of the world, they probably won't apologize unless you tell them they were being pushy. And if they're a nice person on the spectrum, they will apologize. But if they're not a nice person on the spectrum, they'll be pushy and not apologize. To those without autism, sometimes we're only being pushy because we care. Even though being pushy is wrong and possibly illegal, I can't ignore their heart's in the right place. I'll be honest, at one point during my freshman year, I was a pushy person, and I was pushy to a specific female who shall remain nameless because I want her to be my friend. I'll give you the answer. It didn't work. However, looking back on that time, although I do see it was wrong to be pushy to her, to this day I do wish she would have seen I was only doing that because during that time span, I truly cared about her. If you ask me, despite being pushy, being wrong, it does show you're willing to go the extra mile for that person. And who doesn't want to be associated with the person who has that character trait? You're probably wondering if your ADHD has become a factor. C257 ADHD come into play. I say yes, because rather than being purposely hostile or controlling, people with ADHD or ADHD frequently appear pushy due to the way their brain handles impulses, pressure, and emotional control. It's good for ADHD brains to pause before speaking or behaving. Individuals with ADHD frequently struggle to postpone gratification or wait for results, particularly in group situations or when participants are proceeding slowly. This urgency may come across as demanding, irritable, or forceful. Rejection sensitive dysphoria, or RSD, a severe emotional response caused by imagined rejection or criticism is common in people with ADHD. Since they fear being excluded or unwelcome, this can make someone strive harder for approval, attention, or inclusion. To those with autism, we also have to remember people take time. It may not be more as much of an autism observation, but it might be an observation due to my ADHD. What I've noticed in this world is people move as slow as pond water. I bring this up because I had to remember they can only move as fast as they can. They're not Toad the Snail who can rev up their engine. It's also not fair for those with autism to try and give them a boost unless it's words of encouragement. I get though, Asties, because I can think of times I was being a bit pushy. Some of those times are hotspot or I move out story. After losing service during a connection call in a 3-year battle with my local internet, I had enough. I wasn't using my internet anymore. So I finally told my mother what was going on, and I pretty much told her, you either get better bandwidth or I'm moving out. Luckily, I was able to chill myself out after my mom calmed me down, and we came with ideas. Luckily, we realized, wait a minute, I can just use a hotspot. And to this day, that's what I'm using. But if the hotspot didn't work, I was long gone down the road and I was moving out. Another time is a lifting friend up story. We were at Lock Firm Ranch, and I was with my friend. Well, they want to take a picture of us. Okay, fine. So what I did in the first picture was I lifted him up my friend to show, hey, he's so cool, I'm so strong, look at me, I'm buff. Urgh. Well, my parents said, hey, don't do that again, please. And even the other parents said, don't do that again. Well, I kind of was in an argument mode, and I said, fine, whatever. But I knew I was going to do it again. Well, they get another picture, I do the same thing. And my mother is like, hey, put him down, what did we just say? I was like, oh, sorry. And I'll be honest, I really didn't mean it because I knew I was going to pick him up again. But anyway, after we said our goodbyes, I'll just say I got ripped a new one. Another story I had that I was being really pushy is I really want Wing's story. So I was going to take Tay-Tay and C-121 meet Tay-Tay for more information, and Big Joe and C-122 meet Big Joe for more information to dinner. Well, I selected Fat Dance because of the wings. Well, my grandfather calls me and says, hey, could we possibly change the restaurant? I don't really want my Tay-Tay to walk because of just how physically disabled she is, and it would be a pain for her to walk. Well, I knew there was a curbside where you could just park up, we could take her right to the door. And my mind was dead set on having wings that day. So I kindly said to my grandparents, and a little bit in a pouty manner, I really want wings. Well, after they could see I wanted wings really bad, they agreed, and we did exactly what I said I was going to do. I said there was a spot you could take her up, we took her up to the spot, and we just had a nice, peaceful dinner. The final story where I was pushy is eat somewhere new or I don't eat story. This happened this week. We had an original plan to go to an Italian restaurant that was new to us. Well, my father, C-113, father Sunshine, for more information, decided he wanted to go out to eat with us. Okay, cool. Well, he had some errands to run, and then plans changed. And then we kept thinking of restaurants, and then I said, I still want to eat somewhere new. And my parents said, well, that may not happen. Then I said, okay, then here's the deal. Either we eat somewhere new, or I'm going to pass on eating out this time. And they're like, okay, if that's the case, you can just stay in the car. And I was like, okay, why do you ask I do it? I did it because I needed some new scenery. And if I didn't have any new scenery, I was going to take a nap, which I didn't mind doing either. Don't worry though, parents, because there are some ways to help the person with autism be less pushy. According to some general research and my knowledge, some of those are don't address twice. Some with autism are less determined than others. And some with autism, once they see the deal is settled, it's settled. There's no way getting out of it. And they will shut up about it. Parents, I will tell you this will not work for every child with autism. I know it hasn't worked for me because I'm the type of person who will not shut up and continue to be pushy until I get something out of the deal. There are some who don't mind getting nothing out of the deal. It just depends on their level of stubbornness. Another idea, parents, is you can understand the cause and show those with autism what the cause is. And individuals with autism may begin to recognize the early symptoms when they comprehend the reasons behind their pushiness, such as the anxiety, sensory overload, or desire for routine. In C106, daily change for more information, being aware of the cause enables people to communicate their requirements more effectively without inadvertently upsetting others. They can switch from being demanding to being requesting. A person with autism is more receptive to other people's viewpoints when they have someone who knows their conduct. Additionally, parents, you can show what polite persistence is by providing them with a tangible, respectable means for advocating for their demands and self-advocating. C247, applying yourself for more information. Teach in mind polite persistence might help people with autism become less aggressive. One way to teach polite persistence is to demonstrate the appearance of social weight signs. It causes the individual with autism to modify their strategy rather than intensify it. Plus, parents, you can set boundaries. Since it increases their sense of safety, control, and respect for others, helping someone with autism create boundaries might make them less demanding. A emotional response may occasionally be the cause of pushy behavior, particularly if the person with autism experiences feeling of overload, rejection, or neglect. Boundaries provide space and predictability. The final idea, as you can see, the passion, parents. A person with autism may become less demanding if they realize that others share their enthusiasm and don't feel compelled to strive for acceptance, validation, or attention. They believe they can trust the person and that they are well cared for. Actually, I like because I have two more ideas and they deserve their own separate category. The first big idea you can do is dun dun dun. You can make it a choice. For instance, I do choose to move out. Okay, we pack our bags, we're driving down the road. Oh, by the way, Sam, you're gonna have to move to the homeless shelter because we can't get you an apartment for several days. And we're driving, I'm like, well, crap. All right, fine, I'll use the stinking internet. In a way, the road was their teacher. And that can work because sometimes not only experiences are the best teachers, but the world can be too. The other big idea I have is dun dun dun. You can do it yourself. You've heard this expression for If you want done something right, you gotta do it yourself. It could work because 1, you don't make any enemies, and 2, you still get the assigned task completed. Now, I will be honest with you, it will be more stressful being a one-man show, but would you rather go solo and deal with stressing yourself out, or would you rather be pushy and risk the chance of making enemies? It can't be both ways, man. To conclude... Really, Roman? Really? You couldn't have waited till I was done? We're gonna be having a talk later. Sorry about that, folks. But anyway, to conclude, being pushy is in our DNA, but it doesn't excuse the behavior. That being said, should people be aware of the pushy trait? Yes, because it is the only way someone with autism know how to show their passion has become a need. Being pushy is the only way we know how to communicate without causing a big scene. Would you rather have them be pushy or have a big scene on your hands? However, it is possible to teach someone with autism how to get things done without having to use the forceful gene the wrong way. Well, that'll be all for us today, folks. I hope you learned something about pushiness, and I want you right to go help someone with autism be less pushy. Thanks for joining for this episode. Please tune in for another episode coming in very soon. Hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble. Thank you very much.